what's incredible is that they should be, when we have a regime like Iran, the most brutal regime you can imagine.
Hold on, they're not in the Eurovision Song Contest. So
no, they're not. No. But this, yes, they're quite right, they're not. But this is what the world should be demonstrating against.
No, but we're talking about Euro songs,
yes,
if you don't mind. I mean, I don't want to be rude.
One second, Nick, this is very important.
I'll deem if it's important, right? And I'm sure it is important, but it's a bit difficult to go to Iran from the Eurovision song.
This is an illustration.
This is like going from Lulu to Ayatollah Khomeini.
This is very, very important.
Well, I'll be the judge of that.
No, you won't be the judge of that.
Well, I will be.
You won't be. You won't be.
No, I will be. You can't handle the truth.
This is an illustration of how sick the world is.
Well, make the point, and then we'll see how important it is. Go ahead, sir. It is a bit of a stretch, but go ahead.
No, it's not a stretch at all.
Well, I've deemed it is a stretch.
It's extremely relevant.
I'll deem whether it's relevant or not. If you'd like to make the point,
we have all these deluded people in universities in America and here, and and in Sweden.
Right.
It's very, very pertinent and it's very relevant. That we should be demonstrating against Iran on a worldwide.
It's a bit of a stretch to get Iran in. We're talking about the Eurovision Song Contest being held in Sweden and the Israeli entry. I just don't think it's right to bring Iran in at this time. I'm not saying we don't.
Right. It couldn't be more right.
But they're not taking part in the damn thing. What's the point of having a demonstration in Malmö about Iran when they're not even there?
This is what we should be demonstrating against Iran, not this contest.
Okay.
There's no question about it.
Basically, I'm Jewish.
Yes.
I am totally against Benjamin Netanyahu's politics and what he's doing. However, I'm also a Eurovision fan, and I've watched it forever. I'm old enough to remember 1978 with Hallelujah and that winning the Eurovision.
Yeah.
And it was a long time ago, and then they had another win with another song, and so they've participated in it for a long, long time.
Yes.
So the whole thing of Australia and should Israel be in it because of their location is a different point.
It's a red herring.
But the point exactly. But today's point and what you're asking is should Israel participate? You used that term sideshow before.
Yes.
It is. If I asked you a question, which I'm going to, James, is what is the singers and the people who wrote the song, what are their political views? Do you know?
No, well, I don't know, but I do know that the original entry
had lyrics that needed to be changed.
Was banned on the grounds of breaking the rules on political neutrality. So
correct, but we don't know if she supports Benjamin Netanyahu. We don't know that. So because it is a song contest, I am 100% certain that it should go ahead, and she should. Banning it, for example, as you maybe suggested, or maybe one or two of your callers.
I don't think they should be banned at the moment, but it's a phone-in show, and I reserve the right to change my mind. Maybe
one or two of your callers suggested it.
For sure.
Would rubber stamp and say we think Israel is wrong, and to me. That's not, you've been discussing this for the last, 7 months.
It's not a decision for the European Broadcasting Union to take.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's sensible.
I am 100% in favour of Israel participating. I do feel sorry for the girls singing because I heard her semi-final where they booed and they, and I'll be watching tomorrow night and I'm expecting them to get nil points.
Right.
Having said that, I think UK is going to get nil.
Well, that's a proud British tradition as well. So your loyalties, your loyalties won't be torn there. Just on one point, if I may. I mean, I love the fact you're right. I mean, I hadn't even had the I didn't have the ambition to add that extra dimension. Someone who really, really loves Eurovision. I left it at someone who loves Israel but doesn't. I know. So that's the perfect. You're right. You were absolutely right. You're the holy grail of callers for this topic. But.
Yeah.
It goes ahead. There's 12,000 people in the middle of Malmö now. Those numbers are going to grow. It could be disrupted. Yeah. People who haven't really been paying any attention at all are going to start asking questions, and they're going to start reading about the death toll from, of course, October the 7th, but then the much, much bigger death toll subsequently of Gazan civilians. And it may do untold damage to Israel's cause. To shine a spotlight on the issue through the lens of Eden Golan.
I hear you. However, I do agree with some comments that this is just, I believe, an opportunity for protesters who I wouldn't call anti-Semitic, because there's loads of protesters, and I protest against Benjamin Netanyahu's views and what he's doing. But I'm Jewish and I support Israel and those things. However, those people in Malmö calling for her to stop and Israel to be banned, there has to be some sort of, I'm not going to use the word anti-Semitism, anti-Semitism, but anti-Israel rhetoric, nothing to do with the bombing, because tomorrow night she's standing on a stage.
Let's say that's true. There'd be 10 of them in the square, not 12,000.
When Russia invaded, you were very, very clear that they should not be there.
Yes.
Why is Israel there? It is absolutely disgusting. It's double standards, hypocrisy. We have actually supplied weapons, the United Kingdom, and support to Israel to carry out this genocide. And it is really, really shocking and sad, this state of affair that we find ourselves today. And it's just down to pure corruption in our political system.
I don't see how you can liken the activities of what Russia did with its illegal invasion of Ukraine with how Israel's responded to the attacks of October the 7th.
Israel murdered 34,000 people. And many, many children, leveled the whole cities. Gaza is basically...
Of those 34,000, some will be terrorists, but do go on.
Well, you know what? These people, Gazan people, were fighting for 75 years. They were living in an open prison.
Yeah.
And because they were living in an open prison, they have every right to stand up and fight back.
What? Not to do what they did on October the 7th?
What would you do? I mean, you can't do anything.
I just want to clarify, you're justifying the attacks of October the 7th.
What I'm saying is, if somebody's got their foot on your neck for 75 years, what are you going to do?
In Camden. Bella, your view of Israel's participation. Good morning.
Hi, Nick. Thank you for having me.
Not at all.
I just want to say that I agree with the protesters and their opinion about Israel taking part in the Eurovision.
It's only a singing contest.
Yeah, on the surface, the Eurovision is a singing contest, but really it reflects a show of solidarity and a reflection between different European countries. And I just think the UK should not show solidarity to Israel. It shouldn't be in a relationship with Israel.
Isn't it just a massive TV... You know we've got Australia now in it. It's just a massive TV event, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. It is a TV event, but, you know, Russia was asked to withdraw. Well, they were forced to withdraw because of their incursion in Ukraine. Equally, Israel should be held to the same standard. And while I know Israel raised the fact that they're defending their borders, you know, they're trying to remove Hamas, they are essentially committing war crimes. The UN recognises that war crimes have been committed by both sides in the Gaza conflict, so not just Hamas, also Israel. And in March, the UN agreed that limiting food, electricity, water, which is what Israel is doing, is also a war crime.
Well,
how can we support a country?
I think it's been restored, but it did do it. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
It's been restored now, but a war crime was committed. And if another country was committing war crimes, would we not end our relationship with them?
I'm a bit in the middle on all this, because both sides of this conflict are absolutely driving me mad. And I don't necessarily mean the people in the thick of it, that's different.
Sure.
But I mean the
You mean Hamas and the Israeli government?
Well, no, I'm meaning the people who are taking sides away from that. Because on the Israeli side, you've got a lot of people, as you say, who turn this into an anti-Semitism issue a lot of the time.
Yes.
But them same people, I'm gay, and them same people call people woke when they call out racism, call out LGBT phobia and other things. So why are they so obsessed with anti-Semitism? Are they not woke for being so obsessed with anti-Semitism?
I hadn't been struck by that. There's a degree of hypocrisy there, isn't there? So people who call out racism are woke, but they spend their lives accusing people, saying, please stop killing Palestinian children, of being anti-Semitic. It's a strange one.
That's what no one has ever said, that they're woke for that. And like I say, all the prejudices are wrong. But at the same time, being gay, I am also, especially after the way George Galloway was last weekend, he was disgusting.
With Lewis Goodall.
With Lewis and with Aaron Bastani.
The interview that he gave, yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's proved that there's a lot of people on the Palestinian side who are LGBT phobic. So,
well, he's proved that there's at least one person who has come across that way. I don't know that we can necessarily tar too many people with the George Galloway brush, but yeah, your point. I mean, your point is pertinent. It's valid. I'm going to steer you back to Malmö. Should they be there? And if they are there, is it going to do more harm than good to what I'm loosely describing this morning as the Israeli cause?
I don't think they should be there, partly because I actually have never got why Israel are actually in the contest to begin with, so that's another argument. But I just think, I don't think they should be in the contest. But I do actually feel sorry for the lady, because we don't know what her opinions are, and she's just being part. She's just.
What if she turned up? What if she turned up wearing? Because I think she was wearing the yellow pin that symbolises support for the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. I consider that to be an entirely uncontroversial gesture, but it does ally you with one side, if you like, of the arguments as opposed to the other. If she turned up wearing a yellow pin and one of those scarves that everybody gets so upset about, if she tried to cast herself as somebody who is sympathetic and mourning all the deaths, could that have worked? Could that have been helpful?
I'm not so sure, because I think the people who are really against Israel being in the contest and against the contest going ahead, don't forget that Ollie's had some backlash as well.
But just for taking part at all while Israel are competing.
They're so unreasonable in one sense, because
you're right.
If we stopped, like I said, going back to me and my life, if you stopped everything because of LGBT phobia, you'd have a lot less entertainment in the world. You wouldn't have football possibly and things like that. So I do think we've got to have a bit. As I say, I'm a left-leaning person, but I'm finding in this argument I'm somewhere in the middle. Because
and you've expressed it really brilliantly. You've expressed it well. I am as well in a way, because I don't think they should be banned from it. But I do wonder whether the utilitarian greater good for everybody would be achieved by a voluntary withdrawal. But I don't know. I certainly wouldn't put any money on that or bet my house on it or anything like that. But the freedom, Paul, to not be entirely sure what you think is one that I think is undervalued sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, and like I said, I just think I think what you said about turning up with two symbols, that would be good actually, because I think that's where everyone should be, and the people, a lot of.
But then Benjamin Netanyahu would probably disown her.
Well, but like I said, she's being reasonable. It's about a two-state solution. That's a reasonable angle to come from with all this, as far as I'm concerned. Both countries matter. The people in both countries matter. And people who are heavy on either side,
heavy's a good
they're
word.
both at fault, I think.
I think you've really made it. I think that's a really important position you've expressed.